New weapons. Today we will see two huge caliber Russian cannons with monstrous firepower. These are the 2S7 Pion self-propelled gun and the giant self-propelled gun MALKA. The 2S7 Pion self-propelled gun is made according to a turretless scheme, with the placement of the gun openly in the aft part of the tracked chassis. The ammunition load of the gun includes cartridge loading shots with variable charges. The main projectiles are a high explosive fragmentation projectile and an active rocket projectile. The weight of a high explosive fragmentation projectile is 110 kg. The maximum firing range of this projectile is 37.5 kilometers. The active rocket projectile weighs 103 kg and the firing range is already 47.5 kilometers. In addition, a concrete piercing projectile, a special munition with a nuclear charge and a chemical projectile have been developed for the gun. Varieties of nuclear shells are called kleshevina, sapling, and perforator. In just 16 years of mass production, more than 500 units of 2S7, Pion of various modifications were produced. In 1983, the 2S7, Pion gun was upgraded and received the designation 2S7M MALKA. During the modernization, gearboxes, distribution mechanisms and power supply units were replaced at MALKA, surveillance devices, intercom equipment and a radio station were updated. The modernization has improved driving characteristics, maneuverability and mobility, command controllability and all the main characteristics of the gun. The gun successfully passed a full cycle of tests, during which they checked the reliability of the loading mechanisms, the strength of the 2A44 gun and the fire control system. Now acceptance makes the serial modernization of the MALKA still considered one of the most powerful guns in the world. 2S7 is armed with a 203mm cannon. MALKA, like Pion, can send shells at a distance of up to 47.5 kilometers. The installation is designed to destroy important enemy targets and objects located in the tactical depth of defense behind the front line. The self-propelled guns can fire high explosive fragmentation projectiles, as well as active rocket ammunition. However, the main advantage of this weapon is the ability to use concrete piercing and chemical shells, as well as special munitions with a nuclear charge.
Today we take a look at the world's fastest Russian supercavitating torpedo, the Shkval. The Shkval torpedo missile characteristics: it can move 6 times faster than its predecessors. The VA-111 Shkval torpedo became one of the most innovative underwater inventions of the USSR. For a world where, due to the laws of physics, surface and submarine weapons developed a maximum of 50 knots, this torpedo was a real breakthrough for Soviet engineers. The Shkval used a rocket engine. However, even it was prevented from achieving high speed by water resistance. The solution was found in turning water into steam, by diverting the torpedo's hot exhaust from the bow. During movement, a thin bubble of steam is created in front of the torpedo, which significantly reduces the resistance. This technology has its disadvantages, in particular, low maneuverability, since changing course takes part of the torpedo outside the bubble. But with a nuclear charge warhead performance, Shkval, entered into service in 1978, it was enough, given that the maximum range of fire was supposedly 7 kilometers. The high level of noise generated by the gas bubble and rocket engine was also considered a disadvantage. Any submarine launching such a torpedo would instantly give away its approximate location. However, such a fast-moving weapon could destroy the enemy before it had time to process the information it received about the attack. In addition, traditional guidance systems could not be used on supercavitating torpedoes. The gas bubble and rocket engine jam the built-in active and passive sonar systems. But engineers have found a compromise. Supercavitation is used to overcome the distance to the target area, and then the torpedo is slowed down directly for guidance. What is interesting, despite all attempts, no country in the world has managed to create such a torpedo. The United States has been working on such weapons since 1997, for example, trying to modernize the Mark 48 torpedo, but they have not yet been able to deploy it. In 2004, a German defense contractor announced the Barracuda torpedo, capable of speeds up to 194 knots. However, the program was never continued. Iran claimed to have its own Hoot torpedo, which is very likely a slightly modified version of the Shkval. And as a final point, Russian submarines are currently the only ones in the world equipped with supercavitating torpedoes, an upgraded version of the Shkval armed with a conventional warhead. The 200-knot torpedo turns the underwater warfare field upside down. Everything about the Seahawk, the U.S. Navy's unmanned robot submarine hunter. Today we will see how the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation checked the Russian grouping of troops in the Arctic zone, inspected the remote Arctic garrisons of the Northern Fleet. The head of the Russian military department checked the organization of service activities and performance of tasks according to the intended purpose of special subdivisions and units deployed on the Novaya Zemlya archipelago, including readiness to act for the protection and defense of especially important facilities. The Minister of Defense made an overflight of the facilities of the central test site. Novaya Zemlya recalls the central proving ground was established in 1954. Between 1954 and 1990, 132 tests of atmospheric, underground, underwater, surface, as well as ground-based nuclear weapons explosions were conducted on it. Their total capacity is 94% of the capacity of all nuclear explosions produced in the USSR. The main tasks of the central polygon of the Russian Federation at the present stage are preparation and testing of advanced weapons and military equipment. The minister also inspected the readiness of social infrastructure facilities of Novaya Zemlya archipelago. The security of civil navigation and maritime economic activity of Russia along the Northern Sea route in the Arctic is ensured by the grouping created on the basis of ships of the Kola flotilla of the Northern Fleet. Currently, a detachment of warships of the Northern Fleet has left the main base, Severomorsk, to fulfill tasks in the Arctic zone of the Arctic Ocean. In addition, in the course of combat training, the Combined Air Group of MiG-31 fighter interceptors performs the tasks of air defense duty, air reconnaissance and cover the troops operating in the Arctic zone. The crews carry out sorties from airfields on the archipelagos of Novaya Zemlya and Franz Josef Land to work out the issues of interaction with the fleet's ship forces. Also in the Arctic zone of responsibility of the Northern Fleet are on round-the-clock duty specialists of radio-technical troops, which monitor the airspace, carry out flights in the framework of combat duty crews of fighter aviation, perform tasks in the Arctic latitudes of the Arctic Ocean squads of warships. Channel new weapons. All about the promising stealth bomber B-21 Raider U.S. Air Force. Look at the link. See you on the channel.